This one's called Terra Nova. On the cold hills of a deserted island, Schilling is trying to find a safe spot to camp. He walks for miles until he slips and falls into a freezing river. But after floating away for a while, he manages to climb out and continue his journey. When he gets too tired to keep going, he stops to rest against a big rock. He grabs a flower to eat and begins thinking back to how it all started. Schilling is in jail for life for the assassination of 6 men, my friends. When one afternoon he's taken to see the prison governor, who asks him what he dreams of. He isn't the only person going through this. Various of his fellow prisoners are also being called to the governor's office and are asked the same question. Morgyak says he wants to see the sea. Yakut wants to witness the war against China. Obesayanka won't speak. Obesian wants to work in this prison and be a governor. Tolia wants to follow the progress of the space station. And Sipa wants to see women again. But Celine's answer is never really shown throughout the movie. The governor tells them they've been selected to be transferred to a penal colony. And shortly afterward, all prisoners are boarded into a ship, just like the actual prison. The prisoners are divided into groups and put into cells, although Obesian acts like he is the boss and even kills a man to take his bed. When the hatch is finally closed and the boat takes off, the prisoner starts panicking, thinking this has all been a trick to let them die at sea. Eventually they make it to a deserted island where the prisoners are put into numbered handcuffs and left at the beach so they can still listen to what Mr. Olafsson and Marta, the heads of the Terra Nova project, have to say. Since the death penalty has become illegal in all countries, prisons have been running out of space to hold such a large number of criminals, which is why the Russian government has offered this land to start this project. Funded by some international organizations, starting today, right now, the prisoners are colonists living under their protection, and everything they need to survive is being provided, including food that should last 3 months. A satellite will be watching them all the time, and there are also some communication tools around the area. Eventually, Ali's gang take control of the situation. Ali gets a ticket and good shoes for himself and Starry before choosing a man to send out on the boat. But as soon as he grabs someone, the group takes a chance to attack and the fight starts again. Dozens of men die in the fight. It's just massacre. Moria kills Ali with a rock. Obsidian kills Starry, also with a rock, and the 3 men that get on a boat to reach the boyo fall to the sea and die drowning. All the remaining prisoners go to the warehouse and begin distributing the supplies, and Obsidian takes advantage of the tools found to get his cuffs open by force. Schilling packs a bunch of supplies in a bag and grabs himself a jacket while listening to Sipa. And what Sipa is saying is that there is no way the food will last 3 months. Then he leaves the area to survive on his own and hopefully find a way out of the island, taking us back to the beginning of the story. He asks Schilling why he won't die either, and Schilling explains it's because of his family. They're dead as he wants to be buried next to them, which can't happen if he dies on the island. The 2 men fall asleep, and when Schilling wakes up, he finds Sipa has stolen the picture to use it as an inspiration for his debauchery. Furious, Schilling beats him up and pushes him off the cliff, but Sipa doesn't die because he doesn't fall into the ocean. He drops on a hill right underneath, but even after this disagreement, the 2 of them travel together as they explore the island. Sipa easily amuses himself with the trash he finds in the water, and while Schilling tries to fish, the only living being they find in the water is some sort of aquatic centipede, which kind of freaks Sipa out. They walk around for a while, and when Estonets announces it's time to return, Schilling stays behind, but Sipa comes back from him and drags him inside with him. They can only watch as the last standing man is captured and tied to a pole, begging for some water as his last wish. So Sipa takes pity on him and brings him a cup to his lips before he's killed. Later, before going to sleep, the group discusses the possibility of rebelling. They're unsure because it may be dangerous, but Shram convinces them it's worth trying. Siling walks up to Obesian and offers him a deal. If he lets them go out to the boy and ask for food, he'll let them the location of the plane he found. Obesian accepts and opens the gate to let them out, while Tolly and Siling go with two other men on the boat. Obsidian asks his men if they know anything about Siling, and that's how he learns he was a pilot, that his family died in a plane crash, and he went to jail for killing flight dispatchers to the airport with a rifle. This crime was classified as murder in a state of severe emotional agitation, which Obsidian thinks means Siling has a guilty conscience. As soon as the boat is far enough, he orders the group to go back to the barracks, canceling his deal. Yakut tries to confront them, but he's immediately killed. So Obsidian grabs one more man before declaring the game is on again. Together they take it apart for easier transport and carry the pieces back to the base. Eventually Marta arrives at the island with a bunch of guards. They use gas to keep the men away, but they do allow Siling to come talk to her and discuss the list of things they've requested. She's confused on why they're asking for gas, as he explains this for the generators, which are supposed to be wind powder, but they don't work during the polar night. In truth, they want the gas for the plane. They don't believe him because there's no fish in the area, so he lies again and tells them they've been eating those centipede-like creatures, which she finds very shocking. They also want to know how many of the original 206 prisoners or colonists are left, which Siling finds suspicious because they should be able to tell with their satellite. He tells them 87 are left, and many are sick, but nobody wants to abandon the project and return to jail. Before Siling leaves, Marta tells him he has the right to one personal request. So he gives her a few sheets of paper, asking her to provide for the group. Once the guards have left with the new supplies, Siling and his men try the gas in the plane, hitting in the hangar, and happily confirm it does work. Afterward, they watch a new group of American prisoners arrive as the guards and Marta leave the island. These prisoners have a leader as well, and a very large man that Siling tries to shake hands with. Arsanov goes up against the American leader and gets overpowered and just start beating each other up. But before he can get killed, Amurbek cuts in and kills the big man instead as the buildings around them catch on fire. All this is being watched by the heads of the project when they realize the situation is finally out of control and that over 30% of the colony has been killed. Marta calls the central office and is told to proceed with code Naked Island, which sends a bunch of guards to the island that shoots all the remainder prisoners while Marta burns Siling's letter. But of course, a few men are still alive thanks to have hidden in the mountains of the hangar. So they were pretty slick and alert, I tell you that. Siling, Sipa, Arsanov, and Tolia. Together they push the plane out. But when they're about to board it, Sipa tells them goodbye and runs to the hill so he can jump into the ocean, not afraid anymore. The remaining trio gets in the plane and Siling manages to make it off safely. Although the guards shoot at them on the way, his two companions end up dying. But Siling isn't hit by the bullets, so he flies away into his final freedom. If you have received value in this video, I believe you know what to do. This one took a long time, and overall it's one of the best movies I've ever done in mastering all-terrain movie recaps. It has a lot of morality. It takes a long time to see that movie in person, but it's definitely one of those Russian movies that are just as good as the Asian ones. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for listening.